What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And as routine, I am always trying to help you protect yourself in gaming and try to protect gaming from itself. It's really important to me. I've been gaming for the entirety of the time that I've been on this earth. Even if I'm here for another 5 years or another 50, I want to game that whole time too. And I want gaming to be fair and fun. And so today I have the opportunity to tell you a story that I think will teach us all a little bit of a lesson. And it's a story about a game called Towns. And Towns is a game that was released in 2012 on Steam's Greenlight program. It was one of the first 10 games to ever get greenlit. And it should have been released as an early access game. The problem was it couldn't be released as an early access game because the early access tag was not available at the time. But the game was certainly incomplete, with the promise that as it continues to be developed, those developments will show up on Steam and you'll get a complete version of the game one day. If you play the current version of the game, though, you'll find that it's still really not complete, which is frustrating today when we hear from their developers that the game will no longer be developed any further and will no longer be supported any further. And that's really, really upsetting for the 200,000 people that bought Towns that generated almost $2 million in gross revenue. Not profit, but gross revenue. And the reason the door is shutting is because the revenue that they brought in, the sales are down. There's not enough revenue coming in to continue to pay for their life needs and the things that they need to just stay alive, rent, food, that kind of thing. And I understand when they need to pull their development resources to that point and move it to another place. This happens in gaming all the time. Games that are being developed have the rug yanked out from underneath them. It's absolutely a guarantee. And investors get ripped off all the time. They invest in a game that never comes to fruition and they lose their money. Now the investor these days with Kickstarter and early access is you and me. And you need to realize that when one of these games gets developed like this, absolutely you are an investor and you have a real chance of losing your money. Now, this is just one example, and there are certainly hundreds of early access games that have not had this problem. There are very few early access games I've ever seen gone from early access to actually complete. In fact, I can't think of any offhand, but I'm sure they're out there, and if there are, I'd love to see you list them in the comments section below. I've invested in a lot of early access games, some of which I thought were absolutely phenomenal, and some I thought were kind of shit, but that's a digression. That's neither here nor there. What I want to talk about is this. When you invest in an early access game, I want you to do 3 simple things for me. Number 1, I want you to research the person you're giving your money to. And you're not purchasing anything. You're making a donation. You're giving a donation. Research the company that you're giving that money to. Make sure that they're competent. Make sure that there's a chance they'll keep their doors open. Make sure you're investing in something real and substantial. Secondly, realize that there's a real chance, just like any other investor, you'll get little to nothing for your money. Steam just recently had to pull a game that was a complete farce, that was early access, that was simply just stock art that had been put in an incomplete map, just complete ripoff. That is a very strong reality. The game that you're purchasing, the idea that you're investing in, may never come to fruition, and you may never receive it. And number 3, realize that when you and I buy early access to a game, we are setting a dangerous precedent. And that precedent is one that has definitely hurt us several times before, because I cannot think of an MMORPG, a massively multiplayer online game, whether it be Star Wars or Elder Scrolls Online, that was released complete, or anything even remarkably close to a playable state. I can't, and if you point towards Battlefield 4, EA still has not made that game complete. That's an early access game. The message we're setting, the precedent we're creating, is that it's okay to sell us incomplete games. And every time we buy one, it makes it easier and easier for a studio to make that decision. Today it's independent games, and that's great. It's great to support small studios. It's great to support indies. It's great to support people who are breaking out of the AAA mold and creating something new and wonderful and beautiful, and I encourage you to do it. But know that we have to be careful, and I hope that you are. Thanks for listening.